Hello, this is Mr. Golias, and we're taking a look at some samples of your writing to try and get an idea of what we need to do as we start editing today. The biggest problem that we saw in the class could be shown here by one that was actually done fairly well. They just were too specific. We had people talking about the book or the movie in the first two sentences, which was part of the checklist. So you can even see here, this was somebody that didn't even help them out with their evaluation. So you shouldn't have those in the first two. And that was a real struggle. If I was going to say anything was the biggest, that was it. That was our biggest struggle. Everyone wanted to talk about reading a book or watching a movie right away in the very first two lines, which this would be more of a transition. So let's take a look at what it looks like when it's done well. This person said, can adults have as little intelligence as kids? Do people with an education have a hard life to live? These were good thought-provoking questions. It started to get the reader thinking. It wasn't so specific that you knew it was a compare and contrast essay about a movie and a book. How does one's intelligence increase? What measures would someone take to become smarter than beforehand? And these are great questions. Everybody would like to get smarter. Notice how they avoided using the word you, which was one of the biggest problems we had. Ever make fun of someone for being slightly different? Ever feel like someone out of place and get made fun of? Now grammatically, we might want to clean this up a little bit, but I could tell they were fighting to avoid the word you, and they came up with great thought-provoking questions that many people can relate to. Notice it's not talking about reading a book, it's not talking about seeing a movie. They were thought-provoking questions. Very well done. Statistics around 65% of people around the world are visual learners. Visual learners have amazing memory, according to Jonah Joan from the Los Alamos Daily Post website. They get more knowledge than auditorial and tactile learners by using charts, taking notes, and watching shows. Our brain is mostly an image processor, not a word processor. What a great, clever way to use statistics and facts to get the reader's attention, and then they'll be able to transition in to their paragraph. Here's one that uses a nice transition as well. The hook was pretty good as well. Intelligence is significant to the lives of many individuals around the world because having an education helps them get a job. Having a good education requires a lot of money and hard work. While there are those around the world who are able to receive a good education, many of these individuals are not able to get a good education even if they work hard for it. Notice how they transition now. Charlie, a man in the short story Flowers for Algernon, is one example of a person who works very hard to become intelligent. Charlie's journey to become intelligent was like a roller coaster with many twists and turns in the short story, while the movie did not leave its audience with much of a thrill. Now he's ready for the thesis statement. The short story Flowers for Algernon was superior over the movie because it shows Charlie's inner thoughts, includes extra scenes, and has more conflict. Now his agreement is great. This topic sentence is great. There's just one missing part, and that's answering the full prompt. Some of you guys are going to see this where you didn't answer the comment about next year's 8th graders. Let's take a look at this one, just for the thesis statement. The movie version of Flowers for Algernon was superior. Notice they didn't put more superior. I can't tell you how many people put more superior. Superior. That is superior. You don't need a more in front of it. So the movie version of Flowers for Algernon was superior and should be experienced by all 8th graders. Notice how he did that next year because the movie was funnier, more detailed, and has more background information. Excellent, excellent thesis statement. Clear, concise, strong stance. This was a perfect one. Now, here's another good thesis statement, and then we'll take a look at a body paragraph. Next year's 8th grade student should read the book Flowers for Algernon. Now, remember, it is a short story, rather than watching the movie because it shows the situation better, is easier to understand, and teaches us a lesson. 1, 2, and 3 clear points. Many people did not keep the agreement in these where one is plural, one's not plural, one uses ed, one uses ing. So this is an area of concern where that one's really good, and this does a great job of just matching up the tenses. So that's something to clean up. Okay, next we're going to take a look at the topic sentences. I kept the same thesis statement here, but now you'll notice I did a color coding to match up the points. Again, this was an area of struggle for many people. This person did a great job of their transitions. First of all, you can see down here, secondly comes up next, but it says movier was funnier. Was their first point. First of all, the movie version of Flowers for Algernon was funnier than the book version. Notice they're making it very clear, very easy to see. Movie is better than the book, and funnier being one reason. Next one is more detailed. Secondly, great transition. The movie version of Flowers for Algernon was more detailed than the book version. Finally, it says has more background information. We scroll down here. Finally, notice the transition, should be a comma there. The movie version of Flowers for Algernon has more background information than the book version. Now they could have mixed up their sentence structure, and they could have varied the sentences a little bit, but the puzzle piece of this, matching it up one by one, this is done perfectly. Perfectly. Very well done. That's what your topic sentences should look like. They should be in order in body paragraphs and match up the same. Obviously not with these color codes. I just did that to theirs. Okay, now let's take a look at the body paragraphs. We're just going to take a look at one right here. They used, to start, the story Flowers for Algernon was better than the movie due to the fact that it was easier to understand. So now they're going to have to back it up, and they're going to have to refer to both. In this one, our writer says, in the movie, when Charlie is taking the Rorschach test, he doesn't see what most people see, so he just gives up. Right after he gets done making things up, they take him to the lab and show him Algernon. Notice that they give two sentences about exactly what happens in the movie. Most people didn't do this. What they did was they just say the movie was lacking. And they don't give this detail. Now she's going to get into her book citation, which most people did a decent job of. However, the author of Flowers for Algernon clearly states, later, I had more crazy tests today. The nice lady who gave it to me told me the name, and I asked her how to spell it so I can write it in my progress report. Notice she keeps the bad spelling, which is perfect. Thematic apperception test. I don't know what the first two words, but I know what test means. You got to pass it or you get bad marks. This test looked easy because I could see the pictures. Only this time she didn't want me to tell her the pictures. That mixed me up. So she does a great job giving a quotation to show how it's different. Now it's time for the analyzing. Why? What makes this different? Why did she pick these? The fact that the author shows how they give Charlie more than one test and don't just throw him into surgery makes it easier to understand. They go to show that they want to understand more about how his mind works and what his emotions are like. While the movie's easy to follow, the story definitely made it easier to understand and help the reader know what it would be like in the lab. So now we're going on to the why part. Many people just did a real quick, and the movie didn't have that. This is why this was better. And that doesn't give us anything. You got to go deeper. So a lot of people in your editing today, you're going to go deeper with your body paragraphs in the analysis, and don't just tell me, oh, it didn't have that in the movie. That's not enough. Last but not least is the conclusion. Here's the best conclusion that we had in both of my classes. Some believe that the book version of Flowers for Algernon is better than the movie version. Semicolon. However, comma, the movie version of Flowers for Algernon just might change your life. Excellent, excellent statement. They used a however statement. They showed the alternate side. They countered it with the rebuttal. I mean, excellent, excellent job. Now let's see where they go from here. The movie version not only makes you laugh, point one, it also has more background information than the book version, which is point two. They break that up into another sentence. Also, the movie is more detailed than the book. There's their third main point. Now they go into, where do we go from here? After watching this movie, people will know who their true friends are. Ah, life lesson. Awesome. That's because Charlie's friends from the factory only liked him because Charlie was not smart, and they made fun of Charlie all the time. Without a doubt, the movie version of Flowers for Algernon is better than the book version, and should be experienced by all 8th graders next year. Clear, concise position. What should I do next year? All 8th graders should watch this version. Gives you a takeaway about knowing your true friends. That's like an action where we can go from here. This is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Very well done. Now, it's your turn. Go back to yours. You have the rest of class right now. Guys, it's time to edit these. Let's clean these up. Let's make them better. The writing cycle is a lengthy process, so let's get to it. Good luck.